Welcome everyone to the Monday, February 9th, Barrington Select Board meeting. At this time, I would ask that those of you that are able, that you silence your phones. I am calling the meeting to order at 6:30. Online is our Vice Chair, Jim Sakosha. Jim, are you present?
I am.
Thank you, sir. Could I have a motion from the board to allow Jim to participate remotely for purposes of medical limitation?
I move that we allow Jim Sakosha to participate in tonight's meeting for medical reasons.
And a second, and a roll call vote, please.
Cappiello, aye.
Manshirk, aye.
And Hardikoff, aye. The motion carries. Welcome, Mr. Sakosha, remotely.
Hey guys, how are you?
And could I have a roll call just for purposes of our meeting minutes?
Cappiello here.
Manshirk, present.
And Hardikoff here. For those of you that choose to, I hope you'll stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. For the Select Board, you have an agenda before you. I'm looking for a motion to either change, modify, or accept it.
I move we accept the agenda written.
I second it.
And roll call, please. I'll begin with Mr. Sakosha online.
Sakosha, aye.
Cappiello, aye.
Manshirk, aye.
Hardikoff, aye. Vice Chair, I plan on beginning each vote with you just while you're available and participating. Thank you.
Yep.
At this time, I'm going to open for the first public comment. If anyone is online and wishes to speak, feel free to mouse over your screen, click on the hand icon, you'll be recognized. Anyone in-house who would like to speak? Okay, at this time, I will close that portion of public comment, and I am going to move to public hearing and invited guests. And I think I'm going to step over there to do that.
Great idea. Yes.
Yes, thank you. As you know, we conducted the I Voted sticker contest. Is it 3 years running now?
This is the second year.
Second year, okay. And so a proclamation congratulating Skylar Oquendo, Olivia McAllister, Amelia Olemeyer, and Erica Merrill as the winners of the 2025 Barrington Kids Vote I Voted sticker design contests. And for their respective age categories, each of them are to be recognized with a proclamation. Whereas the 2025 Barrington Kids Vote invited children of various age groups to enter designs for the I Voted stickers to be given out to all Barrington voters at the 2026 town meeting. And whereas an assortment of 107 designs were submitted into the contest by the children of Barrington, upon which more than 350 children individually voted for their favorite designs, and whereas Skylar, Olivia, Amelia, and Erica, showcasing both a colorful mosaic background emphasizing I voted, and Barry the Bulldog against a patriotic American flag design, and a patriotic American flag design with the shadow of I voted, and the bald eagle with outstretched wings over the red, white, and blue background, demonstrated exceptional artistry, creativity, and appreciation for the Barrington community. And whereas these designers achieved the greatest number of votes in their respective age categories for the I Voted Barrington Kids sticker contest, ensuring that the designs would be distributed to voters at the 2026 Barrington Town Meeting, now therefore We, the Barrington, New Hampshire Select Board, do hereby proclaim Skylar Aquindo, Olivia McAllister, Amelia Olemeyer, and Erica Merrill as winners of the I Voted Barrington Kids Sticker Contest and extend our heartfelt congratulations to them on their achievements. Let this proclamation serve as a testament to their exceptional abilities and inspire others to strive for excellence in their future endeavors. In witness thereof, we have here under our hand and caused the seal of the town of Barrington to be affixed this 9th day of February, 2026. Does the select board have any additional comments for our artists?
Just that we're thrilled that you all shared your creativity and that all the townspeople are going to see it. It's a wonderful thing.
I would add too that it just shows that these particular citizens of ours, even though they can't vote yet, have a real commitment to making Barrington a better place. And presumably we'll see them voting, and when they're 18, see them actually voting on the other side.
And potentially someday sitting in those chairs. As I call your name, I'm going to have each artist please come up, and we're going to be taking some photos with you. This is the proclamation for Skylar Aquindo.
I don't think who could make it tonight.
Oh, okay, very good to know. Hold that. And for Olivia McAllister. And for Amelia Olemeyer. And for Erica Merrill, please.
All right, select board, you want to come up? Yep.
Am I to give them these so they can...
I handed some out. So yeah, if you have friends that want to join you in having your artistry in Barrington's history. Everybody right here? Awesome. Congratulations. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Of note, New Hampshire Civics, a nonprofit organization that works to build New Hampshire residents into the fabric of ensuring that everything we do within the state of New Hampshire is transparent and participatory. We have shared with them when this contest began, and they are sharing Barrington all over the state as an example of how we begin to get residents involved and grow people into participatory members of their community. So this program has gone far beyond Barrington's borders. Next up, this is exciting. This is a proclamation for our 2025 Volunteer of the Year Award. I won't make Stephanie come up until the end. Is she here tonight?
Yes.
Okay. Whereas Stephanie Dimke has served as the driving force behind the Stars and Stripes for Barrington project since 2013, and whereas this project, Stephanie annually coordinates the installation of approximately 40 American flags along Route 9 in Barrington, proudly displayed from Memorial Day through Veterans Day. And whereas this installation honors the service and sacrifice of our nation's veterans while contributing to the enrichment and beautification of the town of Barrington. And whereas Stephanie has further demonstrated her commitment to the community through additional volunteer roles, including as the trustee of the town's trust funds, a food pantry volunteer, among others. And now, therefore, we, the Barrington, New Hampshire Select Board, do hereby proclaim Stephanie Dimke the recipient of the 2025 Volunteer of the Year Award and extend our heartfelt gratitude for her service, as well as congratulations on this well-deserved honor. Let this proclamation serve as a testament to her exemplary civic engagement, a reminder of the meaningful impact one individual can have in a community. In witness thereof, we have here, unto our hand, caused the seal of the town of Barrington to be affixed this 9th day of February 2026. Please come up, Steph. And this is a donation. Any comments from the rest of the board tonight?
Excellent work.
Just thank you for all of your dedication through the years. I feel like you're kind of a quiet volunteer out there, and I'm just honored to be able to honor you.
I want to say thank you. The first thing I noticed when I came into town several years ago were all the flags and thought, I think we're home. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Let's have you step up here and we'll grab. Come on up, members of the select. So this is a big one, really big. Not that all of the awards are not amazing, but this is our legacy award. And we began this actually when we began to understand that there were residents who had given a lifetime to the community in various ways. And so this proclamation is the Volunteer Legacy Award for 2025. Whereas Susan Gaudiello has dedicated a lifetime to public service and betterment to her community, and whereas Susan has served the town of Barrington with distinction, including as a member of Barrington's Select Board for 6 years, 18 years as a member of the Library Trustees, as well as service on the Library Foundation and Library Building Committees, and whereas Susan has been a tireless and effective champion for the establishment of a new modern Barrington Library, taking on the role of Library Trustee Chair to lead this significant endeavor, and whereas through Susan's thoughtful leadership, the new Barrington Library was completed in 2025, creating an enduring community asset that will serve generations of Barrington residents. And now, therefore, we, the Barrington, New Hampshire Select Board, do hereby proclaim Susan Gaudiella as the recipient of the Volunteer Legacy Award and extend our heartfelt gratitude for her extraordinary service, along with our congratulations on this well-earned recognition. Let this proclamation serve as a testament to her exemplary civic engagement, to the lasting difference one individual's dedication can make in their community. In witness thereof, we have here under our hand and caused the seal of the town of Barrington to be affixed this 9th day of February 2026.
Just thank you for bringing your skills.
I had to have watched you work.
That's great. Yeah, any supporters. Here in the audience.
Library trustees, come on,
We can just turn.
I know.
That way. Yeah, right.
Got a camera for us? That's okay.
Anybody, staff,
You got a camera? Okay, I love it. Staff is, yes. There we go.
Okay. All right, everybody right here. That's terrific. Awesome. Okay.
So before I sit in my regular seat at this time, for those of you that came specifically for awards, the rest of the select board and I would not be offended if you would like to vacate your seats and not spend your evening with us. We all stayed up late watching that game last night.
Maybe a 5-minute recess.
A 5-minute recess. You got it. Please grab snacks on your way, cookies on Yes.
Ready.
You're there.
Welcome everyone back to the Barrington Select Board February 9th meeting. Do we have Vice Chair Sakosha back online with us?
I am here.
Okay, welcome back, sir.
Yes.
Anyone here from the school board to present? I don't see anyone.
Nope.
We're going to move on to the department's annual reports. Our invited guests from each department. Connor, do you want to lead? Who's?
I will.
And as you come forward to present your department, if you could turn on your mic and make sure your little circle sitting at the base of it is green.
Terrific. So in the past, during budget development process, prior to the development of the 2025 budget, we had each department head come before the select board and make a presentation of their budget. Over the years, we've optimized the budget development process, and we've invested in the volunteer membership of the Advisory Budget Committee. And a lot of those budget development activities are happening prior to when those budgets would be presented. And so in cleaning up that process now, those discussions are just had with the Advisory Budget Committee. Everything exists in the electronic budget binder. Those meetings are open to public participation and recorded. And so one of the things we want to make sure we didn't lose is an opportunity for each department head to have an audience before the select board and the community. We chose this time of year because this is when every department head is writing up their annual report to be printed in Barrington's Town Report. And so it's an opportunity for department heads to talk about what has happened over the last year and what they're looking ahead to in the next year. And so this is just a brief couple-minute update from each department head. Certainly they would entertain any questions the select board may have, but really it's a testament to the work that they all do every day in keeping the operations of the town at a very high level of service for our residents, while the select board focuses on the bigger picture and longer term challenges facing the town. The day-to-day operations are in good hands with our department heads and their staff. So we have a list of the department heads, which we will go in order, starting with our finance administrator, Amy Doherty. And please hold your applause till the end, to the end of her update.
And before you begin, so one thing I'd like to say is it's wonderful to have you all in the same room actually hearing about each other's departments, because it allows you to maybe even learn small tidbits of things that you have not heard within your normal interactions with each other. Please proceed.
Okay. So I'm Amy Doherty, the Finance Administrator. In 2025, we completed the 2024 audit. There were 2 audit findings, which is very uncommon to have such a low number of audit findings. The year before that, we had just 1 audit finding. So, I mean, we are doing really well. We're proud of those results. And the first audit finding was the cash drawer reconciliations, and we immediately remedied that even prior to them issuing the report. We implemented a cash drawer policy as well as daily and quarterly reconciliation processes, and all of our reports can be found on the town's website at barrington.nh.gov/policy. Not just that finding, not just that policy, but all policies are located on that website. The second audit finding was to have the library implement an accounting software, and the remedy for that was that they have transitioned to QuickBooks to address the finding. We have our 2025 audit scheduled for March 9th through 13th, which is coming right up. And we've already completed some field work in preparation for the audit. We're looking forward to working with Vashon and Kluke, as we have a good working relationship with them. Consistent with best practices, we have changed auditors every 3 to 5 years. And this is our 3rd year working with them again. For the 2026 budget preparation, a new process this year, which is consistent with the Select Board's strategic plan for the 2026 budget presentation or preparation, was that I audited the budgets with department heads prior to their submission to the ABC. We're always looking for cost savings, but one thing that stood out across most departments was a reduction in earned time buyout lines due to earned time utilization trends. And we've prepared a lean budget for voters. For grants this year, we have a lot of project tracking and grant submissions. We had grant submissions for Old Canaan Bridge and lots of follow-up for the Green Hill Bridge submission that was submitted last year. There's more requirements in detail than have been required in the past, so it's just a more tedious and time-consuming process, which is why we've had a lot of follow-up with the Green Hill Bridge second submission for that. They've been asking for extra documentation and different things than they've required from us for the first submission, so we're working with their requirements on that. This is extra work, but it's well worth the effort for the millions in grant dollars that we process. The large project trackings this year were the library bond and the community center. For finance, we've been busy with an increased number of payments and converting vendors and employees to be paid via EFT. This takes time up front, but saves time in the long run to avoid lost checks and uncashed check follow-up that can be time consuming to get a hold of people who have not cashed their checks for a number of months. And the finance team works well together just to get the job done, any job, not just that one, but we all have our process and we all, communicate well together to do that. For credit cards, we implemented credit cards in the building department in March of 2025, and we're proud to make this option available to residents. We'll work to look at the transfer station next to get them up and running with credit cards. They were actually our first project initially a number of years ago to get them started with credit cards. We chose them as our first, and they're actually turned out to be our last. They have so many barriers at the transfer station that we didn't initially recognize. They have low quality internet, an old fashioned cash register, and they need a standalone machine that we can also charge the fees directly to residents, which seems to be the most difficult option, is to have the credit card company just directly charge the user the fee rather than putting it on the town, because we can't take on that burden. And for the wellness update, we had our annual apple picking event, which was at Butternut Farm, which was a great success again. We are looking at going back to Demerit next year because they had a couple issues with their management a couple years ago where we showed up and they didn't have any apples for us. But they are under new management. They will be having apples, and they have hay rides and or wagon rides. And it's just less setup and breakdown for the staff because they have picnic tables and a tent already there, and it's just a lot for everyone to get there, but to be determined where we go next year. And then this year we also had our first annual employee volunteer appreciation ice skating event, which was really fun. I think everyone that went had a great time. There was no injuries to report, so that's great, and we will definitely have to do it next year. So
awesome.
oh, yeah.
Thank you, Amy. Any questions for Amy?
Amy, you mentioned grants. I mean, what's the landscape for grants going forward? It seems like it might be more limited than we've seen in the past, but I'd like your sense of that.
Well, when I started here, there was a lot of grant bridge projects going on. And I think that those are kind of coming to the end, but there's a lot more, smaller scale grants that I see coming in, like $100,000 grant with, maybe a 1-year turnaround rather than, the old Canaan Bridge project. I was pulling invoices from 2013 prior to me even being here. And so those ones, honestly, I'm happy to close those out. They're much larger scale, but the smaller ones, I know they take a lot of time to get set up and get going, but I can wrap them up quickly and we can get them out the door and get the money back. So some of the projects that we're doing now, like the HOP grant one, we can reimburse quarterly for that. And so we are spending the money and then getting reimbursed much more quickly. And I actually prefer that because we're staying on top of the tracking and the submissions and
Which grant is the HOP grant?
That's the
yeah.
consultants, the master
Yeah.
plan implementation
Oh, yeah.
consultants.
Thank you.
Of course.
And so, yeah, and then there's, ongoing ones like Tiffany's now taken over the preservation of the town
Historical
books. And so Linda did a couple years of that. Now it's Tiffany. And so that's always nice to see something that we can show residents that was paid for, mostly by a grant. So those are the ones that are more front facing, but I'm happy to get these bridge projects, out the door. And, I'm sure we'll see more of them come along, but at least I'll be, there for the beginning of that. And then I can follow that through. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you. Do you want me to leave this on or shut it off?
You can leave it on.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Crystal, our esteemed tax collector.
Hello.
Answered your question.
So 2025, there was 36.6 million committed for taxes. And by the time we closed out on December 31st, we had collected 35.2. So we did pretty well. We processed over 1,200 online transactions last year. We sent out about 345 delinquency notices at the beginning of last year. And last week, we sent out our delinquency notices for this year, just shy of that number. The one property that we deeded last summer was repurchased at the beginning of this year. And another thing that happened last summer, we hosted here in your space our Stratford County annual meeting for the New Hampshire Tax Collectors Association. We had, I want to say, 5 or 6 other communities show up to that meeting that we hold annually. We all volunteer hosting. And it was actually at that meeting I had learned of some other municipalities that are collecting back taxes on campers through small claims court. So that is the tax office's kind of big project for 2026, figuring out that new process. From what I've heard, most specifically from Rachel over in Rochester, was that it was a much more time and money efficient, quicker turnaround on getting those smaller bills paid. So that's something we're going to be looking into in the coming months. Otherwise, yeah.
It's awesome, Crystal. Questions?
So how many of the 345 delinquency notices are tied to those campers?
I would say between 12 and 20, maybe.
Okay.
I did have quite a few folks. It's more of a trend with those smaller bills that they kind of ignore that first bill and just pay it all at the end of the year. So it wasn't as much as you'd think.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions for Crystal? Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Crystal. And our Human Resources Administrator had planned to be here tonight, but she was unable to. I will briefly give you a couple of updates that she wanted me to pass along. First, in the welfare side of things, Debbie Wood is also the welfare caseworker. And in 2025, there were 11 clients. That is down quite a bit from the year prior. And down even further from before that. And so our utilization is down a lot. The total expenditures for welfare in 2025 were just over $10,000. And so again, that is down from 2024 when there were 22 clients and $22,000. Our expenditure per client still tracks pretty similar, pretty close to $1,000. It's meant to be emergency assistance, and a lot of times that's one-time assistance to help bridge the gap. For folks to find more sustainable help. She says that the clients have changed. We're seeing less folks coming in every month, and so there's more, one-time emergency assistance being provided. And she's starting to see fewer families and couples that are coming in needing assistance, and she's seen a couple of recent clients, older and just having trouble making ends meet. So on the human resources side, turnover was very small. There was 2 employees that retired and 2 left to health reasons, and one who was just filling in for us and left when that project was done, another whose spouse found a job in another state. And so the retention, the Debbie attributes the retention to the benefits and pay and the competitive work that the select board has done to maintain a total rewards package that's competitive in the region. Still recruiting. Breaking news, I'm looking for Jamie. We have an accepted offer as of like today for deputy, which I'll let Jamie fill you in on there. But that was a position that Debbie had worked a lot on attracting somebody to fill that position. And so other new hires, library director, planner, public works director, this is in the last year. Special projects for highway. In the fire department, a lot of effort was put into a hiring process, and we decided, as you know, to put that on hold while we explore other opportunities. And we're very fortunate to have John Janelle leading that ship, who you'll hear from later. And Debbie feels that overall employee retention is steady. Any questions for Debbie? Terrific. Moving on. Aaron. From the transfer station, who we heard might be getting credit cards someday. Someday.
Once we get the bugs worked out. And we're not opposed to it. We got to find what fits.
Yeah.
Right?
Find the right solution.
Yes. So, Erin Paradise, transfer station administrator. The transfer station finished within budget for the 2025 fiscal year. A brief overview. We took in 1,124.48 tons of MSW, which is the equivalent of 6.5 blue whales. 410 tons of demo, 90 tons of glass, 350 tons of recycling, and 142 tons of metal, which by recycling metal, we have avoided approximately 1,376 pounds of carbon dioxide emissions. That's like removing 139 passenger cars from the road for an entire year. Like previous years, we have been focusing on waste diversion and offer a number of programs to the residents to help offset what is going into the landfill. Why it's important? It means keeping materials like food scraps, recyclables, and reusable items out of the landfills, which, as everybody knows, is slowly diminishing in capacity. It protects the environment, turns waste into resources, reduces the cost for everyone, and builds a cleaner and healthier community. So some of the programs that we offer is the Book Bin, which is a book recycling program, and we recycled 8 tons of books last year. We also have textile recycling, which has become probably one of the bigger, we have 2 of the book bins, and for textile recycling, we added a second can as well, bin. We recycled 24 tons of textile recycling. And then plastic film, we recycled 2.35 tons, which that is runs on volunteers. And they're always looking for volunteers to help offset. We'd love to be able to continue this program, but it is run by volunteers. That would add extra strain to some of the employees to how, the volunteers help mitigate some of that stuff. So if you are interested, please reach out. They're always looking for people, like I said. Another program that we just finished our 1 year into out of our 2-year pilot program is composting. So we composted 3,000 pounds of food waste. So that's the equivalent of a weight of a hippopotamus.
I love your facts.
So I think we've done pretty well. Can we be doing better? Yes. So that leads into, pushing for more resident education and resident involvement. Just getting more people involved. I think it's a great program for those who don't necessarily compost at home. What we found is that there are a lot of people who do compost, but this program offers more than what they can do at home. And a lot of people are taking advantage of it, especially in the winter months. So some of the things that we've done at the transfer station is we've added more colorful signage around the facility to capture residents' attention. With the help of our transfer station review committee, we are hoping to put together a video for residents. It's something that we've been talking about and we really need to implement to explain how the operations work at the facility and basically kind of give you a flow of how it goes if you came to the transfer station as a new resident. We've made some minor but impactful improvements at the facility. The MSW building received a new coat of paint that was well overdue, with the addition of some new bulletin boards that were installed on the side windows. Looking forward, we're going to be looking at the parking lot and some other small improvements just to make it uniform with things. So in 2025, we held our annual roadside cleanup event on April 19th. We have been lucky to consistently have at least 100 volunteers. Collectively, we removed over 1,000 pounds of trash in 2025 off our roads. The next roadside cleanup event is scheduled for April 18th, 2026. I do want to note that there is a monthly trash pickup program, which is Don't Trash Barrington, which is run separately, but all that information can be found at our website at barrington.nh.gov. So looking ahead, the food waste diversion program will be ending at the end of 2026. So we'll be coming to you to hopefully for approval to implement for full time. Currently we are talking about our waste management contract, and we have been running numbers for a few options of what we can do, and hopefully we'll start negotiations or come up with plan A, B, or C. Then future plans for the facility will need to include looking at purchasing new compactors. We have aging equipment, and this will support reliable operations. It will improve waste handling efficiency and reduce service interruptions, which at probably the most awful times that it could happen, we've had some equipment breakdown, but we've been lucky enough to have some of our companies be able to respond and have parts on hand to replace these. We are looking at, we have 2 compactors that we got in 2012. So we have been very diligent with our maintenance and making sure that, we are having them serviced yearly to make sure that they are working, but we definitely need to be looking at replacing those in the near future. So.
Thank you, Aaron.
Questions from the board? Vice Chair, do you have any questions?
I do not.
Awesome. Thank you. Ernie, short walk.
Good evening, everybody. How are you?
Good evening, good.
So I've been here since May of 2025. When I started, I think the biggest project, that you've had going on, there are actually a lot of them going on around the town common, but the one that I got involved with, obviously, was the town center district and helping with organizing the zoning and so forth. We're working with consultant Steve Whitman, and he has been helping us to put together form-based zoning in the downtown on a 92-acre piece of the overall town center district, to allow us to work with a developer that has been in town, and and I think there's been some trust developed there over the years, and it will allow the town to start to deliver on the vision of the town center. Finally, I think. I mean, I know that this has been a concentration for the town for the past 20 years. I know Connor has really concentrated on it for the past 7 or so since he's been here. But I think it's all coming together, and it's pretty exciting. So please keep an eye out for that, for the zoning articles. And if you have any questions, please call the department. I'll be happy to talk with anybody about it if you have any questions about what's going on in the town center for zoning this year. So you heard Amy talk about a couple of the grant opportunities. The town center district is one of them. We're using a HOP grant. It's a housing opportunities grant that I think you've had 2 of them here so far this year. I mean, in the last couple of years. And so we're working on that, but we're also working through the Piscataqua River Estuaries Partnership through Stratford Regional Planning Commission to assist with coming up with a septic ordinance for around our water bodies here to protect them from contamination and so forth, and from faulty septic systems. And that will develop into working on stormwater management in the next year. So you'll see articles in 2027 with regard to septic system. Well, actually, that'll be a selectman thing, but with regard to stormwater management, you'll see warrant articles probably with regard to that, because we'll be adding protections in zoning for stormwater protection as well. So in working with Stratford Regional Planning Commission, of course, they're our planning commission in this area. Their office is out of Rochester. I've been working on the SEDS committee, which is the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy Group. Had our first meeting last week. It went very well, and hopefully as we go through that, I'll be able to post some of the progress we're making on that, and again, anybody who has any questions about any of these things that we're involved with, please just call the planning department. Happy to talk with them. I was asked to serve on the Brownfields Advisory, the assessments group there, because I have had experience with brownfield development in different towns I've been in. I'm excited about that. And finally gotten involved with the Chamber of Commerce a little bit, because planning and development goes hand in hand with economic development. And even though the chamber here is small, you have a really dedicated group of people that work very hard. And it's a regional chamber, it's the Greater Barrington Chamber of Commerce. So you have businesses from Rochester, Lee, Dover, all around the area. And we've been attending those meetings monthly now. And we're actually going to be doing a presentation on March 4th about what's happening in the town center. Because last month, the speaker couldn't make it. I think it was, we had a snow or something, and they had trouble getting in. And we were asked, Scott Shepard and I were asked to make a presentation, and they really liked it. So they asked us all to come and do a full bore presentation prior to the vote coming up on March 10th. So we're excited about that. Let's see. This year, I mean, I won't really go down through numbers on cases and so forth, because that won't mean much to anybody, but there are a couple of things that I would highlight that I did in the town report. One of them was you have a building that was used for food service before out on Commerce Way, and you have a light manufacturing facility that is now renovating that building and about to move into it. It's called Weave Filtration. Again, light manufacturing facility. They're locating their headquarters over here from a different city, and I think it's pretty exciting because number one, you're getting a building renovated that's was built in the late 70s, and not only is that creating jobs, but it's also increasing the value of that building, broadening the tax base, and it can never hurt to have different types of businesses come into your community. And that's one of the things that's happened with this facility. And again, excited about that. Then the other one, of course, and this just highlights the work that the planning board goes through. You had one proposal come in. It was a large conservation subdivision proposal. And the planning board met with the developer. I think they had 3 meetings, and it's a 512 acre parcel or group of parcels up off of Canaan Back Road that is being proposed for some development. In this case, the developer wanted to move things along a little bit more quickly than the planning board did, and demanded an answer on a yield plan, which is a precursor to a conservation subdivision, but it's just a technical part of the whole planning process that you have to go through. And the owner of the company said that they weren't going to provide the planning board with what they'd requested and demanded a decision. So the planning board denied the yield plan. And at this point, they're challenging us in court. And that's where I'll leave that. But I just want to let you know that the planning board, you know, even though they were, I think, dressed down a little bit, didn't budge, and they held their ground and did a good job for the planning, for the community in that case. So I guess I just wanted to give a plug to the planning board because they do work hard, and so does the zoning board. That's the other land use board that we work with. You know, when there are appeals to, you know, when people need to reduce setbacks, they have a lot that's problematic to build on, they need to go to the zoning board to ask for relief sometimes from some of these regulations. And they meet once a month on the third Wednesdays of the month, and the planning board meets the first and third Tuesdays of the month. And so both these boards hardly ever miss a meeting. I mean, if they do, it's only because it's summertime and nobody's around, so they lighten the load a little bit. But they're constantly meeting, constantly working on these, on your regulations. Moving into 2026, the planning board will continue to take a look at regulations, which include subdivision site plan review, be continuing to work with the planning board to improve zoning. We'll have to keep an eye on the legislature, see what they're doing, because whenever they go through their plethora of changes every year, then we have to make sure we're keeping up. So that's about it. Are there any questions?
Questions for Ernie?
Well, first of all, thank you for the expertise you're bringing to the planning board, which is where I see what you're bringing. Can you just briefly describe the brownfield concept that you mentioned?
Sure. Sometimes, in the past, you have manufacturing facilities that work on that are on a piece of property for a number of years. And, years ago, there was a lot less oversight of what happened with chemicals and manufacturing waste and so forth, and how it was disposed of. Sometimes, people would put it in barrels and bury it in the back behind where the facility was. Other times they would haul them off to other places in other states and contaminate the ground there. So what EPA came up with a program that helps to clean up these not so seriously contaminated sites and enables the community to reuse them for economic development purposes, or in some cases, depending on the contamination and the protection you put over it, a cap, so forth, or you could reuse it for passive recreation or something to that effect. But the Brownfields program was a program that was put together from all of those business and manufacturing facilities that came about in the 19th, 20th century that for years were manufacturing things and getting rid of waste, and they didn't really, sometimes they knew what it was doing to the environment, other times you just didn't. So Brownfields program is a program to clean up those sites and make them usable again.
So in Barrington, up on just north of Green Hill 125 intersection, where Seaco's Business Machines used to be, that was an industrial chemical processing operation at one point. They still test the water up there. Also, we have like Knight's Garage is another good example, business, operating in that industry for a long time. Kayla's Country Store used to have gas pumps out in front of. So there are various sites that may be eligible for the program. Having Ernie's expertise and being a part of the program regionally will help unlock those opportunities. Other questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Ernie.
Right.
Appreciate it.
Brownfield, Texas is Waylon Jennings' birthplace.
George.
Knew you needed to know that.
I've got no blue whales. I got no hippopotamus.
You got no hippopotamus, no blue whale.
If you add up all the arrest paperwork that we had in the last year.
To tag team off of Ernie's business, though, the Weave group that opened up down on Commerce Way, they graciously opened their doors to the canine training guys too. I know they've used it once. I don't know what their plans are of going back there, probably when it warms up, because I don't believe that's heated out there, I don't think. But they opened their doors and the state police and Samuel went down there. So it's awful nice of them moving into the community to offer that out to us. I generally start with staff, so I'm just gonna roll with that because it's historic. We went into 25, 2 slots down. We never filled Officer Donnie Morse's spot, and the board was gracious enough and the citizens of Barrington were gracious enough to vote through the second spot effective July 1. We held our oral boards, we did our hiring process, and we were fortunate in that we got 3 amazing candidates. I haven't seen a hiring process like that in a long time. We were 3 for 3 and had to turn 1 down, which was a good problem to have. But Officer Josh Julius and Officer Nick Alsop were hired during that time and have been a great addition. Eventually, you're going to be seeing them solo. They're in the first phase of their FTO program right now. So by the rotation in April, they'll be, I'm confident that they'll be solo. I don't want to put the cart in front of the horse, but I don't see any problems that they're going to have. As I just mentioned, Officer Sorosky was reassigned from General Patrol to the Canine program. Early 25, was what, February-ish. We went to Runchkin Kennel and picked up Canine Auto, little Armaligator. We were, again, very fortunate, given the staffing levels that we had, that I was able to send Officer Sorosky to the state police academies for the canine program. The difference for those of you that have been around for a little while, when I certified my dogs, it took me almost a year to get certifications. Officer Morse was the same way. It took him just shy of a year to get a certification with Indy. It's because going every Monday and spreading it out takes a lot longer. Now, the end product, fantastic. But we were able to get Samuel in with the state police. We have both his certifications inside of a year, which is amazing. Otto is, and not to take anything away from Samuel, but Otto's doing great. He's super motivated. He's drivey. He's doing a great job. He's had some successful tracks out there since then. We actually had to bring another canine into Barrington to do a narcotics search because Officer Sorosky was out of the area. So, but again, the egos get out of the way and we just get the job done. So thankfully Milton's canine was available, came down another fresh canine, had a really good find on the car. So that's been good. Training for staff, you've heard me harp on training ad nauseum, and I'm going to continue on it. This year, both Deputy Chief Campbell and Detective Sergeant Barber completed their FBI LEDA trilogy, which is huge. I'm a firm believer in the LEDA program. I mentioned it here before. We aren't a large enough town necessarily for me to send anybody to the FBI National Academy in Virginia. There are pluses and minuses to that, certainly, but I don't necessarily want to be without my command staff for the months that take place down there. And frankly, I've talked to the deputy chief about it. He has no desire to be away from his family for that amount of time either, which I can definitely understand. So the local version of that is the FBI LEDA schools. So by sending them to all 3 schools, they don't get the FBI National Academy, but they get a very good taste of it. Both DC and Detective Sergeant Barber got their trilogy, their 3rd class in this year. Sergeant Baker and Sergeant Libby attained their 2nd class this year. So next year, they'll finalize their trilogy as well. All of this to say, I firmly believe in making sure that from the top down, folks can replace me if need be. Folks can replace the DC if need be. I don't want my sergeants trained to be sergeants. I want my sergeants trained to be administrators if possible. That follows down through our patrol staff. I've been slowly and surely sending to basic level supervisory schools through Primex, through NHMA, through the academy where I can get them. And that all occurred this year as well. Obviously, we got all our 3-2s in through the academy, ethics, de-escalation, mental health, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's training. Community events were big this year. We brought the truck show back, which is fantastic. If I can leave tomorrow happy at this point that that's back in town. We worked with Rec with the summer concert series, making sure that they were squared away, making sure that they were safe and sound. It was a good year. The Peeper, we had the turkey trot, a lot of good community events. Public safety building took up a lot of our time this year, which again, we've beat to death at these meetings, so I'm not going to beat it to death anymore. We'll let the people make a decision. Some noteworthy criminal activity this year. Bank got hit. We all know that. What we may or may not know is that we had that suspect in custody in less than 2 hours. It helps when people are dumb. Certainly, I'm not going to take credit for, people's stupidity, but it is what it is. We had a significant ATV robbery from the power sports down here at Toll End Road. Detective Sergeant Barber put a lot of work into that. Don't want to neglect Officer Cameron Barry, because Officer Cameron Barry took that initial report and as a patrol officer really, really ran with it as far as he possibly could. And then he worked with Detective Sergeant Barber to get a resolution, which involves at this point 2 individuals in custody. We have a warrant for a 3rd individual who happens to be in custody down in Rhode Island. We don't get him until he gets released. So again, very good resolution on a case that a lot of times would have just died on the vine right there. That was a lot of good, hard patrol work, which led to good detective work. Very, very proud of both of them. Total calls for service this year, 10,071. That is trended down from last year. 2476 traffic stops and 200 arrests. Again, all that trended down. That, a lot of it can be attributed to staffing. Again, we went into the year too low. I lost my officer Resnicek for a brief period of time on a hiatus last year, who's one of my hammers on the road. When we lose people like that, traffic enforcement goes down, arrests go down, self-initiated activity goes down. We now have our new officers. Henry's back. I've already noticed a trend back up in January. Yes, I compare my statistics month by month. We are trending back in the correct direction now that we are full staffed. We have to take into account, though, that I, for lack of a better term, lose an officer while I'm training. At this point, Officer Sardina has Officer Alsup, and Officer Sorosky has Officer Julius. So those 2 gentlemen are not able to self-initiate activity because they've got somebody behind the wheel of their car. So while I lose 2, I've got 2 new guys behind the wheel that are generating more, if that makes sense. Eventually in April, I'll have those officers back that are training plus the 2 new individuals, and we'll be fully at staff where we should be as far as coverage. I think that covers everything from 25. Am I missing anything, DC?
Questions for the police chief or deputy police chief?
Just a statement. I'm grateful to hear that we're fully staffed, not for any other reason on my part than the safety of the officers that are out doing their job. I think that select person Capiello thanked you at the last meeting for the community policing. And when I hear ethics and community policing and building those relationships within the community, I think it makes us all happy. So thank you.
I can't say that I've looked forward to building a schedule as much as I am next rotation, because it's going to be very easy finally.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Building Inspector Jamie Jennison, who I will point out, in case he doesn't, his wife of Sweet Treats.
Well, the sweet spot,
Sweet Spot
the sweet life. It's going to be, it's a shameless plug here.
donated the allergen-friendly cupcakes and truffles and cookies that are back there. And so very much thanks to her. I think he was trying to butter you up because, the news he's going to share, whatever. I don't know, but he's bringing a hiring today, sweet treats to the back of the table.
Someone's going to replace Rick Walker's long diatribe, so I figured I gotta fill it up with something. But no, my wife has suffered with a wheat allergy for over 13 years. It's debilitating. She EpiPens quite often, so she quit her job, and now she's trying to make treats that other people can't enjoy. So, yes, pleasure to be here tonight. For those that don't know me online or in the audience, I'm Jamie Jennison. Along with myself, John Huckins, and Kayla Piva, we represent the building department and support the town's assessing department. We've been very busy this year. I feel like a hamster in a wheel, really. The numbers aren't exorbitantly high compared to other years, but it's just a lot. Bigger developments, bigger buildings, a lot more inspections. As Connor mentioned earlier, we are talking to a new hire. He came in today to fill out some paperwork, going through the process, getting some background checks done, and hopefully he's got a pre-scheduled vacation, and hopefully he'll join us and beginning of March. And so that's exciting. We'll be soon getting the car that you authorized from the police in the coming future, as soon as they're waiting on some parts and get their new car up and running. And so it'll be nice to have that second vehicle as our new hire comes on board. We are also engaging in a new software for the building department that's going to provide an online portal for applicants to go online 24 hours a day and fill out building permits and apply. I'm hoping that, with some of these upgrades, it's going to free up time for other activities as well as streamline, provide me with better reporting for the future. There's a whole suite of possibilities, with engaging in something like this. So I'm very excited about that. That should be live. March 20th is the anticipated date that will be. We'll make the full transition. So right now we're kind of in the struggle mode between two things and trying to figure out the new and use the old and get everything on board. But yeah, I think it's going to be great. Beyond that, we've seen some legislation come down that more specifically is geared towards land use, but there is some building stuff. The board will be presented in the near future with an amendment to the Class 6 and private road policy that we use quite often in this town with the new legislation on Class 6 roads. We'll be looking to you to make a decision on how we're going to move forward with that and maybe adjusting the policy in some other areas. With regulations, land use in mind, I would encourage the board, if they're not familiar with a lot of the stuff that's going on in Concord, there's many people trying to move local land use regulation to the state level and circumvent local boards. They feel, builders and realtors specifically feel that they can get more houses to build and sell if they can circumvent the local process. And I think that's bad for local communities. Not just, one, me being a Barrington resident, but I think for every community. I think local people typically know what's best, for their area. And I think it should stay local. They proposed one that was looking to make planning board members and land use board members get qualified to become board members and have education, and I think that would really deter people. That one fell aside, luckily. Doesn't look like it's going to move forward, but you never know if they'll bring it back. And it's hard to keep track of because there's a lot, and so it's ongoing. But I try to monitor them as best I can and not spend too much time because half the stuff never makes it anywhere, but the ones that do could potentially have some serious impacts. And I think that's about it. Happy to answer any questions and. Feedback on the sweet treats I can pass on to my wife.
That we can give you. Then tell her that we're very thankful. That was delightful.
Has any questions?
Mr. Sakosha, any questions for our building inspector?
I am good. I am so excited, though, that permits are now going online. So, way to go.
Awesome. I don't want to, mix business and town business, but one of our building permit credit card users on the line right there, Sakosha Electric.
Our biggest user as of now. I think the process will be much easier with this. With iWorks, we'll have their own payment. So online payments will be easier for them as coming in using the credit card swiper, and just contractor at 10 o'clock at night wants to fill out a permit and pay for it. He's just going to have that ability. I've used it in other communities as a builder, and it's super convenient for someone that's not able to make it to a town office during building hours. You're building a house in Barrington, but you got another project going in another town. It's hard to run back and forth and, apply and pay and all that other stuff. So I think this is a good move for applicants.
Awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Jamie.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Jamie. I also do hold the record. I was the first one to pull a permit this year in the town.
Wow.
Overachiever.
Right?
That's right.
Jessica Tennis, Parks and Recreation Director.
Let's go.
All right. Hello.
Wow.
All right, so Parks and Recreation. So the year 2025 was a pretty big year for us, with our biggest milestone being officially kicking off the community center renovations. That was a $1 million funded CDFA grant funding, as well as local support, and the construction is underway, and we are in the final weeks, hopefully, of that project. We're on track to reopen a more functional and accessible space in spring of 2026 with a ribbon cutting scheduled for Tuesday, June 2nd. This project will have a lasting impact on how we deliver programs and bring the community together. Programming remained at the heart of what we do, and 2025 was another strong year. We added 16 new programs, and we are proud to share that throughout the 2025 year, we offered a total of 132 programs for residents to choose from. Summer camps, youth sports, adult fitness, and seasonal favorites like Yoga on the Common, Trails and Nails, and the return of the Spooky Walk at Fall Festival all continue to thrive. Against my better judgment, Spooky Walk, clowns are not my thing. Even with the community center being closed for nearly a quarter of the year, participant numbers continued to grow as we saw an additional 529 registrations, more than the previous year. This shows us that residents are eager to support opportunities to stay active and connected while staying right here in Barrington. We also expanded our adult and senior programs, supported by our 15-passenger van. Along with the Trails and Nails program, we added trips to museums, theater productions, and other destinations, creating a new way for residents to socialize and stay engaged. Community events and partnerships were another highlight, including another successful year of the Holy Rosary Credit Union Summer Concert Series, which continues to grow in popularity. We also partnered with the local post office to host Barrington Zip Code Day on 03825, and where we were able to celebrate our town's identity with custom stamps, postcards, and a time capsule that will be sealed into the newly renovated community center. Another area that we are especially proud of is leadership development. Our counselor and training program continues to grow with more than 20 applications for this upcoming summer. This program offers real-life responsibilities and mentorship to children that are roughly ages 12 to 14, including an application and interview process. This is where I personally started within the Parks and Recreation Department over 20 years ago. So seeing campers grow into CITs, counselors, and even life and long-term leaders is one of the most rewarding parts of this job. And finally, we continue to invest in our parks and recreation facilities. The Capital Reserve Fund was used to support playground maintenance and reduce liability for the town, while also maintaining ongoing improvements at the Chief Conway Community Park to help ensure a clean, safe, and welcoming environment. This was also the first year of public use for the new pavilion, which quickly became a hub for programming and private rentals. And obviously none of this would be doable without the boards and the committees and the support within the residents. So I just wanted to take a moment for a shout out for all of those people and their support. So and I think that's it.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
I think it's worth underlining that the amount of activity in Parks and Recreation Department while that building is being renovated, anybody who's managed a building project of any kind and knows the decision-making fatigue and the countless meetings and opportunities of choosing this or that and making sure things are just right. We're very fortunate to have Jesse at a time when we're able to make this investment in the community center. Nobody knows that building or Parks and Recreation better than Jesse. Nobody is better suited to answer those questions. She's supported by Jim, the facility manager, and obviously Carino's a great partner. But there are things that nobody else can answer but Jesse, and to do all of that day in and day out, in addition to the workload, we're fortunate to have so much going on, and really look forward to opening that community center. And I have not shared yet, but there is a tentative ribbon cutting date for the community center of June.
You just said June 2nd.
I did say
Tuesday, June.
Okay, great. Perfect.
Start paying attention.
Start paying attention.
No worries.
I'll make sure we get that. I think that's good there.
Invitations to all of you guys as well, so you have that on your date. So, yeah. But thank you. And if you guys want to do a tour at the new community center at any point, feel free to email me and I can pop over and try to do a tour for you guys. I know everyone's schedules are all over the place, so if you guys are interested, let me know and we would love to give you a walkthrough. So, okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. John Janelle. Talk about somebody else doing a couple jobs at the same time.
Good evening.
Good evening, John.
2025 was another busy year for Barrington Fire Rescue. We had 1,108 emergency calls. 718 of those were EMS, 392 were fire only related. Staffing wise, again, knock on wood, we're fully staffed right now with our 4 full-timers. Gosh, we have a whole mini army of part-time per diem folks to cover the rest of the shift. Not a lot of call members anymore. I think we're down to probably 3, maybe 4 call of the traditional call members, but still plenty of folks to handle the calls. Some of the significant incidents that happened in 2025, we did have a multi-day brush fire, kind of kept it under the radar, but it did last for 4 days. It was during the height of the drought. It was remote, a lot of logistical issues, included numerous communities, the state of New Hampshire. And the other part that I thought was great was actually the community. Everyone on the road where the fire took place, a lot of them had UTVs, 4-wheelers, and supported us the entire time by bringing in personnel, equipment, food, water, and that sort of thing. So that was really great. 2 structure fires, actually since I've been chief, that happened to be on private roads. Were definitely challenging. Water supply issues. One of them was a hoarding situation. So very labor intensive. Again, our mutual aid partners helped out considerably. We had 2 motor vehicle accidents involving commercial vehicles. Again, that included neighboring communities, lots of personnel time, auto extrication, cleanup, that sort of thing. And then 3 other significant motor vehicle accidents that required a lot of personnel time and extrication. We had recently a winter wilderness rescue out at a Stonehouse. The reason I bring that up is we did purchase that UTV a few years ago. We actually used it a lot this year. We got it with tracks so we could use it in the wintertime, and that helped tremendously out at Stonehouse. It was a couple hours just locating the person who fell and twisted their ankle, and then we were able to safely get the UTV right to the patient and get them out of the woods. Also in 25, as you all know, Rick Walker finally retired as fire chief. So that was a significant change in the department. As Connor mentioned, we went through a hiring process. We were unsuccessful finding what we felt was a proper candidate to lead us into the future. So we transitioned to a part-time model, me being the interim fire chief part-time with support from the rest of the officers. Nothing has changed. There's still 24/7 coverage. There's always an officer available. And this has worked out really well to date. And we'll be continuously, monitoring the situation throughout 26 if further changes are needed. Also in 25, we started looking at regionalization, which you've all heard about tremendously over the past few months. Part of that process, we did develop a strategic plan. There's, I think, a lot of work ahead of us, especially with the 2 neighboring communities that we're working with, Lee and Madbury. But some of the outcomes so far that have come out of that is we've conducted quarterly joint training with Madbury. We're going to start doing some more with Lee. We're in the process of streamlining our policies amongst the 3 departments. We're all now utilizing a program called I Am Responding. So when you go into the fire station, you're going to see big screens like this. We're not watching football. What's on there is who's on staff in Barrington, who's on staff in Lee, Madbury. It also shows when a call comes in, a map pops up. And over time, we're going to have pre-plan information in there, hydrants. I mean, just a suite of information for us. And also Stratford's on that as well. So it's a good tool. And one thing that we started on February 1st is a trial run with McGregor Ambulance out of Durham and Madbury Fire Department, where Barrington is responding to basically the Route 9 corridor for Delta level and above ambulance calls. So any breathing, cardiac issue, trauma, that sort of thing, we're responding automatically, and car accidents. In return, McGregor is responding to any call in Barrington, Delta, and above from Warren Road east to the Lee Traffic Circle. And this will give us a good chance of we can track costs, we can track response times, that sort of thing. So in the future, if we want to play around a little bit more with sharing of resources in the communities, is it cost effective? So that's going to be for 6 months, and when completed, we'll report out to the board on the success. Training for 25, 75% of the full-time staff has completed advanced EMT, and I have 2 part-timers that are currently enrolled in that as well. So fingers crossed, by the end of the year, maybe we'll have an advanced provider for every shift. 2 of our part-time members completed firefighter 1 and 2 in 2025, and I have 2 newer members that are currently enrolled in Fire 1 and 2, and they should be fully certified by the summer. The department developed an in-house driver training program to take place of the CDL, the state CDL program. It just wasn't cost effective anymore for us to send somebody to get their CDL. They have to take a multi-day class before they can even take the test, so we decided to do it in-house. And all the officers are going to start taking, it's called Blue Card. It's a National Incident Command System program. Both assistant chiefs work for neighboring departments. They're currently in the class, being paid for by the neighboring department. I will take the class sooner than later. It entails about 40 hours of online training and then 2 days of practical evaluations that's done by chief officers in neighboring communities. On the EMS side, we were able to purchase our first four-wheel drive ambulance, which has been great this year, especially. And part of that, we were able to buy a new monitor and a power load stretcher. So now we have 2 really good conditioned ambulances in service. We transitioned to paperless EMS reporting, so we no longer have to save those paper reports for 10 years. And revenue-wise, through ambulance billing, I believe last year was the first year that we kept in the ambulance revolving fund all of the funds that we took in, and that was roughly $224,000. On the fire side, we completed radio upgrades. We purchased a new utility truck. The officers went through and updated our CIP. So looking at those long-term apparatus purchases, we actually came up with 2 schedules, short-term and a long-term, depending on whether or not we do regionalization or not. So if we go regionalization, we go one direction. We don't do regionalization, we still got a plan in place. And we also looked at some of those big ticket equipment items that need to get replaced sooner and later. Implemented online fire permits, which the residents will see the link in the town report, or we'll end up putting it on the website as well. We transitioned to a new national reporting system, and we started preparing to do pre-plan. So pre-plan is just when the fire department goes out, designates hazards, water supplies, that sort of thing. We're going to do it for all town and school facilities initially, and then move to businesses. All that will be put into that I Am Responding program where we can see it and our mutual aid partners. For 26, we're going to be hopefully soon advertising an RFP to refurb Engine 2, replace rescue tools, work with the PD on our future facility needs. We're going to spend a lot of time developing a staffing plan. That's something that we don't have. We need it. We need to start planning for the future. Adding tablets to the apparatus for response tracking. And hopefully, Jamie, let me know about a module in iWork. for fire inspections. So we should start tracking that a little bit more in the future. Any questions?
You had a whiteboard hanging in the fire station. It had a list of things to be accomplished. How's that board? Is it blank now?
The one when you first walk in next to the bulletin board? Yeah, that's our list of maintenance items.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Okay. Fabulous.
And I'll say the town is very fortunate to have not only John's leadership, but also leadership of the other officers, especially, the couple of traffic accidents he talked about, fatalities. We have a young group of full-time staff and part-time staff. To have a leader like John, who has a career of training, he works full-time for the federal government, but to be able to navigate those circumstances, the incidences we've had that you've heard, but also to bring that leadership to the conversations about regionalization, all the work that takes. John, works 2 full-time jobs. He's part-time here, but it's a lot. So we're fortunate to have him and the officers at this time, which could otherwise have been very turbulent in Barrington. You have somebody that's been in the leadership role for more than 20 years. That transition can be rocky for any community, even with the best succession management plan. And John and the officers have managed that transition for the staff and the community seamlessly. So we're very fortunate.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, John. Kim Karakas, Town Clerk.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It is.
So the town clerk's office had a 4% increase over last year's revenue, so that was pretty good, about 2.4 million. We licensed about 2,400 dogs last year, and we registered about 13,800 vehicles. Rebecca Smith, my deputy town clerk, attended her first year for the New Hampshire Town Clerk certification this past year. That's a 3-year program. She would go once a week for 3 years, and then she'll be certified from the state of New Hampshire. Deborah Griffin, my assistant town clerk, she retired in October after working for 14 years. So we wish her well, but at least I replaced her with Chelsea Jones, who started in November, and she's doing very well. She's catching on very quick. She's a little younger, which is nice, and I don't know if that has a big part to help her be so quick and picking up on everything, but she's doing very, very well. We issue antique and veteran plates now in our office. We now sell transfer station bags, and we also issue transfer station decals. And in January, we started processing hunting and fishing licenses and off-road vehicles. I don't know what else there is that we could do, so I looked into just about everything. We have a top dog contest going on where the kids will vote in the town election this year. And the purpose is to get people to make sure to go license their dogs because we still have so many. Right now, we probably have about 40, 45 because they keep coming in now. All the applicants are coming in. I was a little scared at first. Nobody was submitting, and then they all started to come in. We have 3 elections coming this year, and it's going to be utilizing the new system we have, the ImageCast Precinct 2 tabulator, which we just had training on last Wednesday.
Say it again,
It's ImageCast Precinct 2 tabulator. So that's replacing the AccuVote machines that we had. And
It's
we
ready
had
to
the
put your
training.
ballots.
Yep, it actually scans and reads the ballot and saves it on a card. Any questions?
So essentially it kind of does the same task.
It's more detailed because the AccuVote, it really didn't save anything. It just scanned
Saves
it
a
and put it in.
count, but these will save an image.
Correct.
Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Other questions for Kim, Town Clerk's office? Terrific.
Okay.
Good there.
Have a good night.
I tried to enter my dog, by the way. No.
Yeah. It's cheating.
Lydia Goodwin, Library Director.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So we've had a very transformable year. I mean, I can't even begin to understand the amount of work that went into getting that building done. But we moved in went very smooth thanks to the dedicated staff and the experience and knowledge of the people that had been there for so long. So very, very grateful for that. So and it's also worth mentioning that we have the solar arrays that was dedicated solely by donations to save that money from the taxpayers. So that was a great gift to the town. But talking about that, that's one of the challenges that we've had, is trying to estimate the energy costs in that new building without any history of data. So we are gathering that and hope to have a better, much better handle on that next year after having a year's worth or so. So we moved in July and we had an immediate surge in community use and engagement. We're still averaging over 100 people a day. So it's sustaining itself. So, and we were closed for 6 weeks, but we still had 30,000 visitors.
Oh.
And we've 651 new card holders. And our goal for 2026 is to get us over the 5,000 active member mark. And we're within 80.
Oh.
Yes. And then the biggest thing that I have to give a big shout out to is our volunteers this year. They dedicated over 2,000 hours, helping us get the grounds ready and moving into this building. They were just priceless. We did 396 programs with 5,137 attendees, which I think that's really impressive considering that we were closed for 6 weeks. And we were giving out museum pass loans while we were closed. People would be able to email me and then I would have them ready and they could come and pick them up. So they were very thankful for that. We participated in the signature events, the Polar Express, the Grinch Storytime, Trunk or Treat, and the Easter egg hunt. Had fun in the ones that I was able to attend after March. Summer reading was a great success. We had 347 participants and they read over 6,000 hours between the kids and the adults. That was amazing. We are partnering with other community organizations, with the ECLC and local schools. We did the kindergarten card signups during September Library Card Month. And Wendy's visiting the classrooms once a month. And we're doing book deliveries to inbound people and to the schools also. We offered teen and adult programs, cooking, fiber arts, painting, and book clubs. And we started a veterans coffee hour and now host Caregivers Cafe with Cornerstone VNA. And that actually has been very, very helpful for the community. On average, we have about 12 people attending every week. And then a big shout out to Wendy for getting us a $10,000 ALA grant for transforming communities that purchased a state-of-the-art audiovisual upgrade for us. So if someone comes to a program and they can't hear, we have little devices that they can put in their ear and turn up so they can hear it. And the speakers in the room turn up from their thing. So looking ahead, where, like I said, biggest goal is to get us over that 5,000 patron mark. That will be a great thing for us. And continue to build on the momentum of the new facility. We love it. It's so, we are so grateful to have it. And then deepening the community partnerships. We're going to try to do a little bit more with the schools and expanded services to meet the evolving needs. So I really appreciate the opportunity to come and talk about what we've done since we've been in our new building. And the library's thriving because the community believes in our mission.
Thank you, Lydia. Questions?
The Hoopla that went away, I've heard a lot about it. Is there any chance Hoopla's going to drop their rates back down so that we could participate again with that?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
Their rates just keep increasing.
Is
Okay.
there any alternative to that besides the Libby?
Well, Libby has different ways to be able to purchase content. The problem is that it's the publishers in the prices of the licensing. So what we are trying to do is dedicate the money that was going towards Hoopla to purchase more in Libby only for Barrington residents. And so there's different types of, like, this pay to play, like you pay per down usage. That is not sustainable, and that's how Hoopla is completely funded that way. So I'm working with the state librarian to get the most amount of materials for the money that we were allotted for that digital library. So
Can individuals buy their own Hoopla?
they cannot.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I've had people call and ask that. So what they can do, and I've told, they can go get a library card in Dover.
Okay.
If that's the only way that they utilize a library. It's, I think it's $200 a year to become a member in Dover.
Okay.
And they have Hoopla.
Good to know.
Yes.
Thank
Not that
you.
we want to send them to other libraries. It's just this particular library budget just cannot sustain that pay per use.
Other questions for Lydia? Awesome. Thank you, Lydia.
Thank you so much.
I think even Boston's public library got rid of Hoopla. Like, yeah, it got that expensive that, yeah.
Mike Netto, Public Works Director. Thanks for sticking around.
Thank you for having me.
How did Mike end up last? That's when you're.
It is alphabetical by first name.
Okay.
And who would have thought that the middle of the alphabet is last?
Yeah, sorry,
We have
sir.
a top-heavy.
Okay.
In the
department
works of changing my first name to Aaron. Good evening, everybody.
Okay, rein it in. Go ahead, Mike.
Public Works plays a critical role in maintaining the infrastructure and essential services that residents rely on every day. Through our highway, facilities, grounds, and transfer station operations, we maintain roads, drainage, care for town buildings and grounds, and provide safe and efficient solid waste and recycling services. These services directly support public safety, environmental protection, and the overall quality of life here in Barrington. I was honored to assume this role in early September, and I want to begin by recognizing the dedication of the Public Works staff, their work ethic and professionalism, supported by the Select Board and the community, reflect a shared commitment to maintaining Barrington's roads, facilities, and essential services to a high standard. A major focus of the department is responsible stewardship of public funds and town-owned assets. We do that through preventative maintenance, strategic reinvestment, and long-term capital planning. The goal is to extend the useful life of our roads, facilities, vehicles, and equipment to reduce the risk of costly emergency repairs. One important step forward this year was the Select Board's approval of a new work order management system, iWork. As it is implemented, it will improve workload tracking, asset management, and inventory control across all divisions. Over time, it will also provide better data to support capital planning, budget, and transparency. Facilities and grounds had several major priorities while still keeping up with daily operations across all town properties. The most urgent project was the emergency replacement of the septic system at the Public Safety Building, which was necessary to keep police and fire services operating without disruption and to remain compliant with health and safety requirements. The well motor at the Public Works facilities was also replaced after a failure that required immediate attention to restore water service. In addition, the division continued routine building and grounds maintenance, including ongoing support of the new library and continued involvement in the rec building rehab project. The highway division had a generally mild winter. It's kind of ramped up since then a little bit, but we continue to see storms increasingly start the year as snow and transition to rain and ice, requiring constant monitoring and adjustments to keep the road safe. Spring and summer were very productive with major investments in paving, drainage, and infrastructure. Our 2025 paving program included reclaim and paving work on sections of Green Hill, Partridge, Autumn, along with overlays on multiple roads, including Rogers Run, Red Fox, Hickory, Second Crown Point Road, Ramsdale, Pond Hill Road, and Lone Pine. Beyond paving, the Highway Division completed routine ditching and drainage work, replaced 7 culverts townwide, completed extensive asphalt crack sealing, and continued roadside pruning. We also completed several site and safety improvements, including upgrades at the rec center playground area and improvements to the parking area at the Ayers Lake boat launch access. A major safety improvement project is underway on the Orchard Hill Road, where we began excavation to lower a high knoll. That work will continue in the spring once some utility relocations have been completed. Progress was made on long-standing culvert projects. Construction began on Old Settlers Road culvert, a project that was 14 years in the making, which should be wrapped up hopefully in the next month or two. We are now preparing for the Lakeside Oaks culvert replacement at Swains Lake. That work is expected to begin by the end of the month. The Swains Lake Dam continues to operate as designed and remains an important town asset. Routine monitoring and maintenance continued this year in compliance with state requirements. As part of the construction contract planned on Lakeside Oaks, improvements and riprap stabilization are to be completed, and there is no immediate safety concern with the current condition of the dam. Finally, we continue to modernize the town fleet to improve reliability and reduce downtime. A new 6-wheel plow truck and a new pickup truck have been ordered and are expected to be delivered by March. The replaced vehicles will be auctioned, and with the replaced pickup, we are going to keep that as a spare. We are also hopeful that funding will allow for replacement of a 1-ton truck in the coming year and some potential grant funding to replace some older equipment, an old loader and the roadside mower with some grants from the Clean Diesel Fund. In closing, Public Works appreciates the continued support of the Select Board and the voters of Barrington in recognizing the importance of safe, reliable infrastructure. We also appreciate the continued cooperation with the police and fire departments, especially during winter storm and emergency events. Our goal remains straightforward: protect public safety while responsibly maintaining and improving Barrington's infrastructure for the benefit of all residents, both today and long term. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Questions for Mike?
Just glad to have you on board.
Glad to be here.
And I'll say, being able as a community to attract, somebody like Mike with his experience and Ernie with his experience at this trajectory in Barrington's history, having their experience and be able to hit the ground running. I mean, I was shocked when Mike reminded us all that he was brought in September. So much has been accomplished, so much has been done, and obviously, people like John Janelle's been around, obviously, but stepping into a bigger role. So a lot of transition in the last year, but we've been able to accomplish a tremendous amount and not skip a beat, and that's a testament to the quality of the folks that we have and that we were able to attract.
Thank you for keeping the road safe.
Yeah. Thank you, but I think that's a very impressive group out there. We're a very fortunate town to have all of you do such a wonderful job of doing this. It makes it easy for us all. And I think like I said, this is a very impressive group that we're looking at here. Thank you all.
I echo that.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks all.
Yep, we're back.
Thank you all for rejoining us. Right now, we are going to open the public hearing in reference to prohibiting Keno. Pursuant to RSA 28451, the Select Board is required to hold a public hearing between 15 and 30 days prior to town meeting vote on the proposed prohibition of Keno in Barrington. We have noticed in Foster's this particular hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to speak on this issue, please mouse over your computers, click on the hand icon, and you'll be recognized. Seeing as none, I'll open it up to anyone in-house. Seeing as no one has asked to speak, I will close that public hearing, and I will open a public hearing in regards to prohibiting games of chance in Barrington. Pursuant to RSA 284D32, the Select Board is required to hold a public hearing 15 to 30 days prior to the town meeting vote on the proposed prohibition of games of chance in Barrington. The hearing has been noticed in the Foster's Daily Democrat pursuant to RSA 284D32. Aye. At this time, if you'd like to speak in reference to this issue, please mouse over your computer, click on the hand icon, you'll be recognized. Seeing as none, I'll move it in-house. I do not see a member of the audience. Anyone here on the board wish to speak in reference to this issue? At this time, then I will close the public hearing. We will move to our consent agenda.
Move that we approve the February 9th, 2026 consent agenda Alpha through Delta as presented.
I'll second it.
And roll call beginning with Select Person Vice Chair Sakosha. You online with us, sir?
Sakosha, aye.
Happy LOI.
Mancheck, aye.
Hardikoff, aye. The motion carries. Thank you all. New requests for signature.
Nope, that's on the consent agenda.
I'm sorry. Appointments, terms expiring. Do you wish to speak to that at all, or have we? Okay, go right ahead.
So this looks a little different this year in how we're approaching the reappointments. So in the past, we've had kind of the individual entries for every person seeking appointment or reappointment. And so for the reappointments of folks who are currently serving, we've summarized it into this 4-page in your packet list of appointed memberships of boards, committees, and commissions. And one of the values of presenting it this way is you can see the rest of the membership. A lot of times we're looking at appointing or reappointing somebody, but we don't have the rest of the membership and when they expire right there in front of us. So Tiffany's been tracking appointments in this way for a while now, but we chose this year to bring this forward and show who is seeking reappointment, who is up for reappointment but not seeking reappointment. And in the electronic version, which is linked to the town administrator report, the seeking reappointment, the yes and the date, that is a link to their application for reappointment. So they're all available there. So anyways, there's a batch that are seeking reappointment, which are up for discussion tonight and will be up for a vote at the next select board meeting. There will be more that are up for discussion at the next select board meeting and a vote the meeting after that. And so we'll track it in this way so you can kind of see everything and find the gaps where we're looking for new members to be involved in local government in Barrington.
Number of years for each appointment are not listed. I assume that if it's appointed in 2025, expiration 2026, it's a 1-year appointment.
No, in most cases, it will be a 3-year appointment. Some are statutorily required to be shorter, like library trustee alternates. And then in other cases, we've backed into because people have left their term early, we have the majority of the board expiring at the same time. So we'll reintroduce some staggering in those appointment terms. No more than 3 years, but some might be fewer than 3 years. And so we'll have the recommended length of the term when they're up for a vote at the next meeting.
Very good. Anything else on that?
No.
Okay, you've done February work anniversaries. Did you want to speak on the deliberative?
I haven't done February work anniversaries. We haven't
we
met
have not.
in
Where
February.
are we? Okay, yes.
Jamie Jennison, who still has graced us with his presence, was hired 4 years ago this month. And John Sardina, who you heard about, doing some field training, was hired 3 years ago this month.
That went fast.
It did.
Yeah.
Deliberative session review. We had deliberative session on the 31st. It was great. The video recording is available online. There were changes to the petitioned warrant articles, which we'll talk about one of them in a minute. And so we have updated the information online. We have sample ballots that are incoming, waiting final approval. We have started the What's That Warrant Article Facebook feature, where every day at noon we feature one article, provide all of the details, and let the community review and discuss. We have blue election-style vote signs, which will be going up momentarily. We just finalized the informational postcard, which will hit mailboxes February 23rd. Very importantly, that postcard hits every mailbox in Barrington and gives folks an invitation to view the voter guide electronically, but also to call us if they want us to mail them a printed copy. If they want to pick up a printed copy. And so we want everybody to be able to access information to make an informed decision when they vote. I've included in here a note to communicate with the chair your availability on voting day, so we can set up a schedule and make sure any gaps are filled with pro tem appointments. I also like to point out this time of year that the Select Board's Rules of Procedure includes a section on Select Board reorganization, which will take place the first Select Board meeting following town meeting vote. And so this year that will be March 16th. Which, pending a decision later in the meeting, may also be our strategic planning session, which would work nicely, I believe. So anyways, that's the language of the rules of procedure. Also, Select Board committee assignments. The chair, who is selected on the March 16th meeting, will assign committee assignments. So we keep that list up to date on active committees. So if you have interest in participation in changing, be prepared to communicate that to the chair. And that's all I have.
Very good. I've lost track.
Municipal Office Administrator column. Page 6.
6 of 9.
You've already signed them, but new signatures were 2 volunteer proclamations, 1 repurchase deed, and 1 auditor response letter. That's it.
I don't know where I put my agenda, so I'm running off of your TA report.
There you go.
Thank you, sir. Oh, I think that's what I'm running off of.
Here, you're on.
Okay.
You're good.
Old business.
Old business. Community voter guide narratives.
So after following deliberative session, there were 3 articles that changed, and we held a select board meeting and updated the recommendation vote at that meeting. What we didn't have time to finalize perfectly was the language for the recommendation narrative. Those weren't drafted, and there was no ability for the select board to review and approve. And so to keep the community voter guide, those recommendation narratives are excerpts from the minutes of a public meeting where this is the narrative about the recommendation. And so the listed in the town administrator report are proposed recommendation narratives for your review and edit and ultimate approval for what will be in the community voter guide as the recommendation narrative. So Article 31 was the change to no change to land use change tax to conservation. And that was the recommendation narrative as the select board unanimously recommends this article. They feel land conservation is a core part of Barrington's rural character, and utilizing revenues from land use change tax is a way to fund conservation priorities without the need to raise additional funds through taxation. Protection of Barrington's lakes is a priority shared by the select board, and collaboration among stakeholders, including the Swains Lake Association and Conservation Commission, is commendable. The select board is glad to support the amended language.
Can we take these one at a time?
That's a great idea.
Okay. So I would make a motion to approve that language in the voter guide regarding Article 31. Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call beginning with Vice Chair. Thank you.
Capello, aye.
And Shirk, aye.
And Hardikoff, aye. Motion carries. Article 32.
Article 32 was originally establishing a capital reserve for invasive species. It was amended at deliberative session to establish an invasive species working group. The recommendation narrative is the select board unanimously recommends this article. They feel that a working group of stakeholders is a great way to approach the complex problem of invasive and nuisance species in Barrington's water bodies. This is an approach the select board supported at the September 23rd, 2025 joint meeting of the Select Board and Conservation Commission. They are glad that the involved parties have joined together to amend the warrant article, which now has broad support.
I would make a motion at this time that we accept the recommended narrative for the voter guide regarding Article 32. Do I have a second?
Second.
And Vice Chair Sakosha.
Happy yellow eye.
Mancharak, aye.
Hardikoff, aye. Motion carries. Next is Article 33. Before we begin this, I'm going to let you know that I'm recusing myself from any discussion surrounding this and will not be voting on it. Please proceed.
Absolutely. Article 33 was originally petitioned to increase the service-connected total disability credit from $4,000 to $5,000. It was amended at deliberative session to go from $4,000 to $4,999. The expressed intent of the amendment at deliberative session was to give the Advisory Budget Committee and the Select Board an opportunity to re-vote on the recommendation for that petitioned warrant article. Following that meeting, the Select Board did vote and voted to unanimously recommend the article. And the proposed recommendation narrative is that they appreciate the opportunity to hear from the primary petitioner and members of the community during deliberative session. Feedback from the community is an essential part of local government. They feel this is an important voter decision, and it is not one that the Select Board considers lightly. They feel that this credit is available to a limited number of qualifying residents, 56 in 2025, and the financial impact is appropriate given their sacrifice. Additionally, Barrington has historically aimed to provide the maximum for veteran credits allowed by the state.
Do we really need the second sentence?
The one, they appreciate the opportunity.
Right.
For me, I think it's helpful to have it because it
Okay.
explains kind of why we changed our mind.
Okay. Okay. That's fine.
Because it really
I
was
wasn't
from
there, so.
Right.
the
It
petition.
should say appreciated. Oh, I said I wouldn't say anything. I'm sorry.
Past tense, appreciated the opportunity. Good catch.
It's
I think
all
it
written in the
explains why
first
there was
tense,
a
though.
change from the first.
Now,
Up to you
tense with
guys.
these things sometimes is hard because I think the select board can still actively appreciate the opportunity to hear from primary petitioner and members of the community, but during deliberative session, maybe the select board, they always appreciate the opportunity. No, they appreciated. I don't know.
Thinking you want to explain why your voter guide you published initially has changed. So I was just thinking this
Yep.
explains why you had to change.
Right.
I think it's fun.
Okay. Motion to approve.
I move that we approve the updated recommendation narratives as amended for Articles 31, 32, and 33 for inclusion in the community voter guide.
We already did 31 and 32, so if you want to amend that to 33?
33.
And Vice Chair Sakosha.
Sakosha.
Yep, yellow eye.
Mancharak, aye.
And Hardikoff recuses herself. New business.
So we discussed at the last meeting during our review of the strategic plan progress, a draft or a potential date for our strategic planning session. And that gave us an opportunity to review our schedules and learn that we will not have a full seated board on April 6th, which was originally scheduled to be the strategic planning session. And so in looking at the schedule and the workload of the select board and the desire to have a strategic planning session early on in the process, I polled the select board on their availability and have proposed the following schedule changes. First is that our regularly scheduled meeting on March 16th would serve as our strategic planning session. So moving that up gives us an opportunity to hit the ground running following the town meeting vote. That will be the session where we would review the strategic plan, make any changes to our goals or action items, and set the priorities for the upcoming year within that strategic plan. So that would be, we would have that discussion, we would draft that then we wouldn't finalize it until the next meeting. And so the changes in meeting dates, in April, we had originally planned to have a meeting on the 6th for strategic planning, like a work session, and then a meeting on the 20th. And so the proposal here is to eliminate the April 6th meeting and then move that April 20th meeting to April 13th. And so we would review an updated draft of the strategic plan on the 13th, and hopefully have an opportunity to finalize that along with other regular business. And so really we would be consolidating the work session that we had planned for the 6th with our regular meeting on the 16th. And so it seems like all members have availability. The members that responded had availability for those changes. And so if the select board as a whole supports those adjustments, I have a draft calendar in your printed packet, and I would be looking for a vote to make those changes.
When are we doing this?
March 2nd, I think, is what you had in mind.
We're going to have a meeting on March the 2nd.
This March 2nd meeting remains.
Okay, so 3/2, 3/16, 4/13.
5/11.
Yep. 5/11. I'm fine with all of that.
I am as well.
Sounds reasonable.
Vice Chair?
Yes.
3/2. Sorry, 3/2, 3/16, 4/13, 5/11 for schedule work for you?
Yeah, I think you said yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So I move that we amend the Select Board 2026 meeting calendar as presented.
That would be a second, and roll call beginning with Vice Chair Sakosha.
Sakosha.
Gabriella.
Mancheck, aye.
Hardikoff, aye. Motion carries.
Awesome. Thank you. I'll get that updated and sent out.
Wonderful. Thank you for that change. Report outs. We'll begin with Joyce, please.
Yeah, I don't have anything new to report.
Okay. I also have nothing new to report, and Alexandra is absent. Dannon, anything new?
Just the school board deliberative session approved their budget and their warrant articles as proposed.
Okay.
Very little discussion.
Yeah. Vice Chair Sakosha.
The renovation came out outstanding over at the community center, and camp registration last Tuesday. They are full and actually have a wait list now.
Wow. I heard you better be on there for the first hour if you want a spot in summer camp. That's great. Thank you for your report outs. I'm going to open up the second session of public comment. If you're online, you wish to speak, please mouse over your screen, click on the hand icon, and you'll be recognized. Seeing as none, I will move that in-house. Seeing as there's no one in the audience, I will close the second generic public comment. Do we have any reason for non-public?
No.
I would entertain a motion then to adjourn.
Sounds entertaining. I move we
adjourn. Okay, and I would second that motion at 8:43 p.m. Beginning with you.
Gabriella, aye.
Mancheck, aye.
And Hardikoff, aye. Thank you all for your time.